Yep. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. Will you start it? Do I start it? Yep. Okay, it's going. Thanks. I can take my shirt off here. Thank you all for actually coming all here together. I've very little time, at 20 minutes more or less, and so the thing that I want to talk about is there's a lot of talk about what we could call Internet of Things and that whole world around it as being something that is happening in the future, or things that will become much more important. And we have in our cloud computing division so many customers that are already doing this that I would sort of like to give you a very quick run through about some sectors in the world where sort of connected data, that means devices that are generating data combined with analytics, providing services, that is actually already reality at very, very large scale. And so the title is actually a joke on that. If you look at what the typical use case in the past for Internet of Things was that your fridge would tweet to you if you would be out of milk, which is actually kind of stupid because that never happens. Not that you don't run out of milk, it is your fridge won't know that it's out of milk. And there was a great company that actually built a prototype of a trash can. And if you would actually throw things in the trash can, it would scan the barcode on the product that you would throw in there, and then it would immediately reorder it on Amazon. Unless you would kick the trash can, then it wouldn't do that. Yeah, so there's lots of fun things happening in that whole world of connected data and enhancing sort of your physical space with digital services. Of course, this one is one that we gave away to lots of our customers at Amazon. It's called the Amazon Dash. That is Amazon Fresh is our grocery delivery, real-time grocery delivery service in at this moment 3 West Coast cities, Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And this is a device that you can just wave around the product and we'll figure out what the product is. And then, of course, it is integrated into shopping. You can actually then use all the information that you gathered with this stick to drive your orders on Amazon Fresh. But I'm not going to talk too much about Amazon, actually. These are just examples of how our world becomes more and more, our digital world becomes more and more, let's say, enhanced with physical stuff, and the physical world becomes more and more enhanced with digital services, most of those analytics driven. And one of the big drivers of all this connected data is, for example, this statement that on the first day of a baby's life, about 70 times the size of the content of the Library of Congress is being collected about the data, and it's only the beginning. And in the past, we always looked at things like video and audio and things like that as stuff that you wanted to watch or things that you wanted to listen to. But these are becoming data streams to be analyzed. And we'll find some examples later on where you see that video no longer is video something that you watch. A video is just a data stream to be analyzed. And so I'll just pick a number of areas. There's a few areas that I'm going to skip, like retail and things like that. But I think, first and foremost, you look at science. Again, book is the fourth paradigm that all talks about the whole shift from, in the past, science, that's the URL for the book if you're interested in it. Thousands of years ago, scientists did only observations. They looked at the sky, wrote them down. Hundreds of years ago, scientists became theorists. They started writing down theories about how this apple that fell down probably did something like gravity. And then decades ago, we had all of these new models that scientists were building, which we then computed through to look whether they are anywhere close to reality. And all of that sort of is going out of the window because the fourth paradigm in research, or in the sort of analytics, is all about facts. It's all about collecting facts. And this is not just for, let's say, physicists or things like that. Many other data scientists, like psychology, like archaeology, all of them are becoming data-driven scientists. And what we see is that it's not just companies that need data scientists. It is actually that most of the scientists themselves need to become data scientists as well, even in areas that are not traditional data-driven. And much of this world, actually, for the scientists, is also this world of connected devices. One example is, for example, the first time when we did the human genome, I think it cost us a few $1 billion to synthesize the first human genome. We're now at the point that we have thousands of these genomes available. And the reason why we can actually have thousands of genomes available of humans to compare is because the devices that have been producing, that have been able to synthesize these genomes, have actually become very cheap and available. Actually, the 1000 Genome Project is a project with the NIH in the US, and at Amazon we host, I think we now have 1,700 genomes. We host this whole data set for free for anybody that wants to actually make use, to do research based on human genomes. This is a data set that you can use freely, provided in Amazon, in the Amazon cloud. And this is, for example, one of these devices. Illumina makes these devices now that actually can do DNA synthesis. And what happens is that these devices no longer spit out data that you get. They actually spit out data that goes directly into the cloud, where you then have a marketplace that Illumina provides with all sorts of algorithms that you run on your data. Yeah, you don't even see the data anymore. It is all a connection between this world of cloud, unlimited resources in the cloud, with connected devices that are generating that data. And it's not just them. Even if things like Unilever is a well-known is a consumer product company, much of the things that these guys are doing is actually fundamental genome research. If you look at the way that they build new deodorants, it's all about the interaction between microbes that live in your armpits and the genes and the DNA of the cells that actually live there. And so you would think it's all about smelling good. No, there's a whole fundamental research that goes beyond that. Much of that is driven by devices generating data and the massive analytics that happens in the cloud beyond it. Some other scientific things. This is the Oceanographic Observatory. They have, in the past, they would have ships that just sit on the oceans, that just measure waves and things like that. That's all past. There's no longer happening. They now have sensors at the bottom of the ocean, all the oceans. And all of that data flows directly into the cloud, where researchers then can collaborate on actually that data together in real time. And of course, this one's one of the more famous ones because this guy is actually very far away. I assume you know who this is. This is Curiosity running around on Mars. And actually, if you look at this image, you think that this is the images that Curiosity takes. It's actually not true. Curiosity has a very small camera. And to be able to do these big panoramas that it normally makes, he needs to make thousands of images. All of those images are being collected. There's 2 satellites that are circling around Mars that have uplinks from Curiosity, where the data is being streamed. And actually, the connection between Curiosity and these 2 satellites actually has less bandwidth than the modems that you used to have 10, 15 years ago. So the data is then, again, being streamed back into the Amazon cloud, where it's being made available for anybody that wants to do research on it. Again, these are devices generating massive amounts of data for researchers to collaborate on. This is the camera, actually, that sits in Curiosity. The reason why it's such a low megapixel camera is that it was spec'd out in, I think, 2002, 2003. And, you know, if you build Mars rovers, you don't mess with the design once you've actually built them. That's how these guys are good. So if you look at the consumer world of connected devices, lots of cool stuff is happening there. You probably have heard about Dropcam. Dropcam actually, on a daily basis, uploads, generates more data, more video than that goes into YouTube. These guys, and this is a good example of, I don't know if you know what Dropcam does. It's basically internet-enabled camera. You put it somewhere in your house. And this video stream that comes from it is a video stream to be analyzed automatically. So you can set alarms like, give me an alarm when the door opens. Give me the alarm when my kids come home with more than 2 friends. Give me an alarm when the dog goes crazy on the couch. Things like that, where suddenly this video stream is no longer a video stream that you're going to record, it's one that you're going to analyze. And of course, much of the consumer things, and especially if you think about consumer devices, you know, we have many of these what I would call healthcare or lose weight apps on our phones. I have all of them on my phone, and you can see it's really effective. Yeah? All of this is all about trying to change behavior. Yeah? And so whether it's this or, for example, many of your toothbrushes these days are actually internet enabled. So you can actually, after you've been brushing, look on your smartphone whether you actually were brushing in the right way. And there's quite a few of these. I actually think this is a totally ridiculous interface, but we'll get back to that later on. Another great device, great example of a device trying to change behavior is the guys at GlowCap. So what they try to do is, so the device, let me show you, it's a pill box, and it's all about people that forget to take their pills. Apparently, this is a massive problem, especially when patients get older. And so GlowCap knows exactly when you should take your pill. And if you have not taken it within the prescribed time, a light will start glowing on the pill box. And then if you haven't taken it 10 minutes later, a small music will start playing there. Yeah, and if not, then if you haven't done it after that, it will send a text to your social network. I mean your real social network, not Facebook, your neighbors and people like that. And so they are actually really, really effective. So they have all sorts of stuff around this. You can see how people, this is actually a demonstration of how effective this is. This is for a control group that wasn't using snow caps. Basically, it's individuals over the y-axis, x-axis is time, and all the red dots are the moment that people forgot to take their medicine. And GlowCaps is really effective because this happens if you actually are able to remind people in a very easy, connected way that they should be taking their medicine. So these guys are really innovative and very successful with that. Totally different consumer world is that of insurances. These guys, this insurance company, give you an app on your phone that will keep track of about how you drive. Yeah? And so it will analyze how you drive, whether you drive within the speed limit, whether you are just a good driver. And if that's the case, then you'll use that data to lower your premium. So basically, here's a self-regulating app that helps you lower your premium if you can prove to the insurance company that you are actually a good driver. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go from consumer all the way over to industrial. The industrial world is definitely one that is exploding with this Internet of Things connected data approach. A good example is GE here. They are instrumenting all the massive gas turbines with lots of sensors to figure out the efficiency of that. Apparently, if they're able to improve the efficiency by 1%, this saves enormous amounts of dollars for their customers. And so they have all of this data and flows, again, it flows into a cloud environment where analytics are being done to actually drive improving the use of these turbines. Shell is another example. They are dropping sensors in each of their oil wells. And they have, each of these sensors generate about 1 petabyte of data. And they have 10,000 of these oil wells where they want to drop these things in. If Shell would not take a, let's say, a cloud-based approach here, they would quickly go from being an oil company to becoming a storage company. Yeah? And so, again, simple examples, data flows from these oil wells to centralized places where all the workers from Shell can actually collaborate on analyzing this data. Another great example is actually in these industries. This is Kerger is a big company in Germany that is well known for its high-end cleaning machines. And most of those are industrial cleaning. And actually all of these machines are data enabled. This data is being uploaded continuously about how effective these machines are, where they are in the city, for example, or where they are in a building, and then optimize sort of the use of these massive amounts of machines. You can imagine that a city, for example, may have thousands of these cleaning machines actually running around.